Hi, I'm Father Joseph Mary, and welcome back to A Simple Word, where we reflect on the Gospel for the coming Sunday. In this Sunday's Gospel, Matthew picks up right where he left off last week. Following the parable of the sower, Jesus tells three more parables in quick succession: the weeds in the wheat, the mustard seed, and the yeast mixed with flour. These parables are incredibly dense and packed with meaning, so we're only going to look at the abridged option in the lectionary, the parable of the weeds and the wheat. In order to grasp the meaning of this parable, we have to hear it with the ear of the first century Jew, a largely agricultural people with a rich sense of their own history. Because in this parable, Jesus is providing a summary of human history. He's telling the people why things are the way they are. Why is there evil in the world? Why do people suffer? And to what end will good and evil come? He begins, the kingdom of heaven may be likened to a man who sowed good seed in his field. Now they had just heard the parable of the sower, so the audience knew that the sower was God and the field was God's creation. Jesus continues, while everyone was asleep, his enemy came and sowed weeds all through the wheat, and then he went off. Again, Jesus is using an image that's very familiar to the Jewish people, and a situation which was not at all uncommon. This was actually done as an act of vengeance on an enemy, to sow weeds in his field with the intent of destroying his harvest. It was so common that Roman law provided a strict punishment for such offenses. Now listening, we might think, well, how bad could that really be? We could just go out and pick the weeds, right? All of us can tell the difference between a weed and a flower. But the word being used in Greek isn't really weeds, it's zizani, and it referred to a plant called bearded darnel. In its earliest stage, it so closely resembled good wheat, even the most experienced farmer couldn't tell the two apart. The Jews called it bastard wheat, and the Greek is from the Hebrew zunim, which is a form of the word zana, meaning fornication. Again, we have to understand the Jewish mind. The popular belief was that in the time of wickedness which preceded the Great Flood, all of creation went astray. Flora and fauna alike committed fornication and gave birth to corruption in nature. So it's not so much that the zunim are weeds, but rather they're wheat that's been corrupted. Every farmer knew that the bearded darnel, this corrupt wheat, couldn't be safely separated from the good wheat, because by the time the two were beginning to flower, their roots were already intertwined. You pulled up one, you uprooted the other. So the separation didn't actually happen until the time of the harvest, after the threshing the grain was set out on large trays, and field hands were hired to carefully pick out the good wheat from the corrupt darnel. The good wheat was stored in the barn, and the corrupt was thrown into the fire. What is Jesus trying to teach his disciples with this parable? In a broad sense, he's outlining the drama of history and addressing the question at the heart of the human condition. In what does evil originate, and why do we suffer? But he's also warning us of the dangers of human judgment. Even the most experienced farmer can't discern the good wheat from the corrupt. And so the Christian had better tread with fear and trembling in judging the heart of another person, because we are very quick to judge and condemn. We're quick to assign guilt and blame. We're quick to make assumptions based on a person's appearance or to assign hidden motives behind their words and actions. Be very careful. You cannot see their hearts. You can't see the sufferings they're going through, the hidden crosses they're carrying, or their individual cooperation or rejection of grace. Only God can see that. Do not judge, because only the harvest will reveal the true quality of the wheat. But in a deeper spiritual sense, we also recognize that the field is the human heart of the individual, because we're all sinners. There's in all of us a constant struggle against corruption. In all of us, there's the striving toward virtue and that downward pull of concupiscence. And that's the ultimate goal of our lives, to uproot our pride and our selfishness and to bear fruit in holiness. People who do that change the world. The saints transform human history. And we need that witness today like never before. I'm Father Joseph Mary. Thanks for listening to A Simple Word. If you found this reflection helpful, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.